Welcome everybody to the Salt Lake City Regional Athletic Complex. My name is Lisa Schmidt. I'm the program manager from the Salt Lake City Parks Division, and I really want to welcome you all out here tonight. This is a very, very exciting night for us. Salt Lake City, as you know, is full of beautiful, beautiful sights, from our library to our foothills to our parks, and it leaves our residents and visitors breathless. And we're all taken aback about what our city has to offer. However, there's nothing that brings the tear to an eye of an athlete like pristine grass. A project that began years ago in 2003 is now seeing its day in the sun finally come, unless you were here on Wednesday night when it was a little soggy. They say patience is a virtue, and good things come to those who wait, but I believe that this experience can best be described as the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. And tonight, the Regional Athletic Complex makes its maiden voyage. We're pleased to welcome the Desert Premier League as our guests this inaugural weekend, with teams from Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, and of course, Utah. The facility will offer our local teams an incredible league and tournament experience. It will serve as a mecca for our regional and national tournaments seeking premier field locations. There are many hands that have carried the vision to this opening day. Many who are here today that I'm sure feel like school kids as they see their dreams take flight with all these young athletes on their wings. I would like to thank Mayor Becker, who tirelessly supported this project, Public Services Director Rick Graham, who carried this vision and its public and city champion, Dennis Haslam, who has served as its confidant and champion along with Rick at the head. I'd like to thank former Councilman Carlton Christensen, who has been a tireless supporter, who supported this campaign along with the current Councilman James Rogers, who's continued to represent the citizens in this district in supporting this facility. The citizens of Salt Lake City who made this a true reality by putting up the funds through our bond to raise the necessary capital to construct this complex. Real Salt Lake, who contributed an amazing $7.5 million to complete the capital fundraising. Utah Youth Soccer, in particular Paul Burke and Drew Hiatt, for their endless support, going door to door, asking people to come out and support the bond, and to raise awareness every step of the way about the need for space for young kids. I'd really like to thank Hughes Construction for all of their work. They've become pretty much my friends over the last couple of months. We've spent a lot of quality time together. I'd like to thank Scott Hughes and Dan Pratt, who are both here today, along with our construction team. I'd also like to thank our subcontractors who worked very, very hard to make sure that we had everything we needed to get going this weekend. I'd also like to thank Talitha Day and the staff of the Gallivan Center for their help tonight, the public services staff, streets, fleet, sanitation, and facilities who came out here in force, in orange, to get this all done. I'd like to thank Salt Lake City Engineering, particularly Jeff Snelling and Jeff Sokol. Jeff, you can finally take a nap. It's done. And finally, I'd personally like to thank the Parks Department. This is an incredible team. And I had 50 guys out here moving benches, sweeping, constructing goals. My cup runneth over, so thank you very much. My dear friend and Westminster Women's Lacrosse head coach, Nikki Harding, lives by and coaches her players based on one motto: dare mighty things. My friends, behold the mighty dream of Salt Lake City. And thank you so much for being a part of it. I'd now like to introduce our mayor, Ralph Becker.
So thank you. What a beautiful day. It was 12 years ago when the dream of a few people became a reality when the bond was passed, and I'm sure they never could have imagined it would take 12 years to get to this day. But along the way, we never knew this day was going to come at many times. So I am so pleased today to announce the official opening of the Salt Lake Regional Athletic Complex. As I mentioned, for so many of you who are here today looking around, this project represents over a decade of dedication and commitment to bring this day to a reality. There have been so many challenges since the voters passed a bond for this project in 2003. but today we're here to look forward to the opportunity, to the activity and enjoyment that this facility will bring to our residents and visitors from all around the region. What started as a grassroots effort to increase the availability of quality playfields for our expanding local youth programs has now come to fruition, and I know these fields will become a busy gathering place for families, friends, and their young athletes. The complex is a great new addition to our city's west side. And in addition to the sporting events that will be happening here, the investment helps lay the groundwork for new neighborhood connections, economic vitality, and enhancement, and is a much needed addition to our portfolio of great public outdoor space. In addition to the building of 16 fields here that will play host to soccer, rugby, lacrosse, and youth football competitions, the city has also been able to preserve just east of here 44 acres of natural habitat, of which 21 acres have been fully restored and included in the extension of the Jordan River Trail to the Davis County line. That is an integral part and critical part of this project, has been the restoration work along the Jordan River, and I think still represents the largest restoration project along the Jordan River to date. The remaining acreage has a citizen-directed restoration plan in place, and that's been approved by the council and is eligible for federal and other funding. So many people have contributed to this project and have been mentioned already, but let me just note a few people who literally have worked night and day, it seems like, since I've been in office in 2008. Public Services Director Rick Graham and his whole team, thank you. Our Salt Lake City Council, which weathered countless debates and votes and challenges, and of course Council Member Carlton Christensen, who was here through much of it, and his successor, Councilman James Rogers, who represent the district that these fields are in, have done just an amazing job of championing this effort. Councilmember Rogers is unable to be with us unless we see him show up now. He was caught in some traffic coming down from Park City. I also want to recognize Youth Soccer Association President Drew Hiatt and the group's former president, Paul Burke, who have been instrumental as a community advocate during the bonding process and as this has needed public support every step of the way. So thank you to Youth Soccer and your association. And it's been mentioned, when I came into office and I was looking at things that were on our plate for the city, this bond election was brought to my attention, and I said, well, where are we? And it's like, well, we're working on it. And it's like, well, what does that mean? This is several years later. And then the list of challenges that were in front of us to bring this project to fruition was mentioned, and I had some past experience with the former president of the Utah Jazz, Dennis Haslam, and I called Dennis and said, Dennis, we need help. And he stepped forward and has literally been the linchpin of providing expertise, advice, touchstones in terms of relationships, in so many ways to make this day possible. So Dennis, thank you so much. And then finally, let me mention Deloy Hansen, president of Real Salt Lake, and his predecessor, Dave Checketts, who made a commitment at the time of the bond that they would contribute $7.5 million towards this project. And they have stuck with it through thick and thin. And this would not have happened today without the incredible commitment and continuing financial contribution of Deloy Hansen and Real Salt Lake. So thank you so much to Real Salt Lake. We're in your home. And finally, of course, to the residents of Salt Lake City, who back in 2003 approved a bond measure knowing that we so desperately needed to improve our soccer opportunities for Salt Lake City and for our entire region. This facility will provide so many enjoyable weekends, weekdays for families, for our youth, for adults, to be able to play soccer on world-class fields. And we have not had that as a real complex like this anywhere in the state of Utah. So really, thank you to the residents of Salt Lake for investing in us and for sticking with us to bring us to this day. So we have a few other speakers. City Council member, former City Council member Carlton Christensen, who I mentioned has done so much. The Real Salt Lake Chief Business Officer Andy Carroll is here on behalf of Deloy Hansen, who couldn't be here. And the Utah Youth Soccer Association President Drew Hiatt will be speaking.
Mayor Becker, thank you for your commitment for bringing this project to fruition. When Mayor Becker first came to office, we had been working previously but had not made the progress that we needed to. And as Mayor Becker pointed out, faced the project almost really from the start. And to his credit, and to those who worked with him, including my dear friend Rick Graham, we're grateful to be here at this point today. I will say when early bond voters came to me in 2003 and posed this idea of having a complex here, I jokingly said, a sports complex, well, how many basketball courts can you get into it? Clearly they had other intentions, and to be honest, since when I first came to office in 1998, we had always been looking for a solution for the community where soccer was growing and the demands on our neighborhood parks were growing. And this not only helps that demand, but it really allows the children and those participating in it to excel and to be part of an environment where truly they can excel at it. I know Councilmember Rogers would share my comments. Rose Park and the surrounding neighborhood for decades have welcomed the world there as residents. And now we're prepared to welcome the world here in hosting this sports complex. I anticipate, while they probably won't come from every country in the world, we hope to see residents from every state of the world, or a state of the United States. And I truly feel this will be an element in our community that will not only look to with pride, but welcome those who are coming as our visitors. And finally, let me just thank the staff at Salt Lake City. For 16 years, I had the opportunity of working alongside them, and there truly is a no finer group of employees and individuals dedicated and committed to their work. And on behalf of myself and former colleagues, we thank them for a job well done.
Hello. On behalf of our owner, Deloy Hansen, and the entire Real Salt Lake organization, I'm very pleased to be here to celebrate this project finally coming to fruition. Since its inception, since RSL's inception over a decade ago, it has been the club has sought to utilize soccer to unite the community. And just like soccer unites the communities all over the world, regardless of how impoverished they are, and in very poor countries, they roll out a soccer ball on a dirt pitch and it unites the community. And we feel like this complex certainly will do that and does that, and Real has always worked to do that since its inception. With regards to Mr. Hansen, you know, it's interesting when the commitment was made for the $7.5 million a decade ago, Real Salt Lake didn't have the funds to support that commitment. And when Deloy Hansen bought the organization back in 2013, January 2013, Real Salt Lake still didn't have the funds to support that commitment. And I could say that Deloy personally has paid the $7.5 million plus out of his own pocket for this commitment for this facility. So, with regards to Deloy's commitment to Utah and Deloy's commitment to community I don't think that there is a better steward with regards to someone who really embraces that and is engaged in it, and not only talks the talk but walks the walk. And with that, I'd also like to say another guy who not only talks the talk but walks the walk is Mayor Becker. And I'd like to congratulate him, quite frankly, for getting this, and the City Council. But certainly there has been a significant amount of determination and leadership and persistence to get this project completed. And certainly Mayor Becker has been that guy, and I can honestly say, the City of Salt Lake should be very, very happy that he is that guy. And I would like to say that Mayor Becker gets things done. So, and here is proof of it. So we're very proud to be associated with this. It has been a long, arduous process, as many of you know, and many have reported. But I can tell you we're very excited to be a part of it. We look very forward to some of our players coming out here and practicing and teaching some of the youth out here in whether it's the Monarchs or some of our youth teams, to really get out and be engaged in the community. So thank you very much. We certainly appreciate it. And on behalf of Deloy Hansen, we'd certainly say thank you. We're very proud of it and very proud of the contributions of all these people. Thank you.
I'm Drew Hiatt. I'm the CEO of Utah Youth Soccer. I stand with these gentlemen and also echo them. Rick Graham, Dennis Haslam, Dave Checketts, Deloy Hansen, multiple city council members, Carlton here, and many others not named. Lisa's done a great job, the crew. This is amazing. I travel the country. I see a lot of soccer fields, a lot of complexes. As the mayor said, this is a world-class venue that we have. And I'm proud of that, representing the soccer community. Earlier this week, former UYSA President Paul Burke, who's been mentioned, he sent me a string of emails that were sent back in 2003 in April to then Mayor Rocky Anderson to get this proposition, get this field where it was, to even make a proposition of it. These emails were sent at 2 a.m. from a soccer president that knew we had a crisis with fields and we needed more. The efforts that Paul made at that time, as well as other countless members of the soccer community, I remember the weeks leading up, and I wasn't involved as much then, but from what I understand, the weeks leading up to the election, there were kids knocking doors and banners being made and radio ads, and people spreading the word that something like this could make such a big difference to sports and youth in the community. So I want to thank Paul for that, and I want to thank Mayor Becker also for his leadership, vision, and commitment. And much like Andy had said, he does get things done. And thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Paul. And also this weekend is the first of many events that you'll see at these complexes that bring in both out-of-state teams. We'll be having our state championship with all of the best clubs in the state, the best teams in the state competing out here next month. We have a local club here with us with Utah Development Academy. They're based right out of Rose Park here. This is a home field, if you would, for them. And that club did not exist, and it wouldn't have existed without the volunteers and people seeing that people care about soccer in this community. And so to the volunteers over there and the people working UDA, thank you. So on behalf of Utah Youth Soccer, I want to thank Salt Lake City. This is a true world-class complex. It's gonna bring joy to our membership and their children and their grandchildren for generations to come. Thank you.